It's the dirty little cousin of video games. $2 billion market, censored, sometimes banned. And okay, if you haven't quite figured it out yet, I'm talking about adult video games. Let's go back because I'm not actually here to talk to you about the economics of adult video games. No, I'm actually here to talk about something I think is a little bit more interesting: design and development. I think I'm going to have to take one for the team here and go ahead and admit that I really enjoy games like this, and especially when they seem to have the same care and attention that any other game might have, even though that seems to be pretty rare. I like a game with a little more tea. Is that so wrong? And in a world where practically every game is hyper violent, I think that adult games can actually seem like a breath of fresh air. And I also think that using eroticism is a really interesting aspect of games that hasn't really seen any meaningful experimentation. But there's another problem. So if you are like me and you've spent any amount of time playing these games, then you already are going to know that the bar for quality isn't exactly super high. Even if you're someone who's probably not traditionally interested in these games, you probably don't imagine adult games as like a paragon of artistic quality. But there are a lot of adult games which have great art or an interesting story. Some adult games have even had a cultural impact, and honestly, that's worth a whole video on its own. But over the years, I began to think something was missing. I began to think deeply about which games I enjoyed and why, and I realized that to me, the theoretical perfect adult game would have to be a balance between three key elements: the appeal, so the art style, the gameplay, and the grind. So I still play adult games sometimes, but I never could find that one adult game that I felt had the perfect balance that I was looking for. Games with really good art tended to make me grind for all of their expensive content. Games with good gameplay seemed to lack kind of the eroticism that I was looking for, and they also make you grind for their content. And games with enough content to avoid making you grind tend to have really mediocre quality art. Plus, I had never actually found a game that was actively designed for the player to play comfortably with one hand. So, for years, I wanted to make my own adult game, and I finally felt that it was time. So, when I made Cherry's Dungeon, I set out to design a game to try and see if I could make a game without those what I thought were fundamental problems. I set out to create what is now Cherry's Dungeon, and in all honesty, Cherry's Dungeon is my first video game. It's the first game that I've ever made, even though it's not the first game development team I've ever been on. It took me about 1.5 years to make it. I'm really proud of it, and it basically represents my best effort to innovate in the adult game space. But ultimately, whether or not I succeeded is going to be up to you. And that's how art can be. So, as I've nearly pretty much finished the game now, there's not much left to do but put it out there and see what everyone thinks. Of course, I'm sure the YouTube comments and the Steam reviews are gonna do that for me. No problem. The first challenge with making this game was choosing the tech to run it on. I didn't want to be constrained by the types of systems that are usually used for adult games. So if you play adult games, you probably are familiar with RenP. You're probably familiar with RPG Maker. And I did some experiments with those. I tried those, but I decided that I wanted to go a little bit deeper with the game design. And so I built my own framework to make a game using Python and Pygame. Ultimately, the most time-consuming aspect of this game, and pretty much any game, is the artwork and the assets that you're going to use in the game. I'm a digital artist. I was an artist before I became a game developer, and I had a lot of trouble choosing between whether I should do an anime style, like a 2D comics style, or whether I was going to do something more detailed and hand inspired by a hand painted type of aesthetic. So eventually I decided to go with the more detailed approach because I felt that it would harmonize more with the orchestral musical score that I wanted to add to the game. By the way, I composed a fully original orchestral score for the game, and I even hired an oboist and a violinist. The artwork took the majority of the time. I had to make backgrounds, character art, and of course, all of the porn. And I wanted my art to have more of a semi-realistic anatomy. I'm not really a fan of hyper-inflated proportions in my adult material. Okay, so of course, and last but not least, I wanted my game to be not just incidentally playable with one hand. I wanted my players to be able to control all of the game with a single-handed control scheme of their choice. So I wanted them to be able to use the mouse or to use the keyboard with one hand and be able to play the whole game. So I chose to integrate the story and the gameplay the best I could. The design of the game is a little bit weird, but it came from trying to think of the best type of gameplay that I could come up with to serve those basic 3 pillars of design that I was aiming at solving. So rather than stats and grinding, I wanted exploration and item-based puzzles with branching paths and hidden secrets. Did it work? Of course, the link to the Steam page is in the description of the video, so you can wishlist the game, or if it's already out in the future, you can buy it. So in about 10 days from the time of the release of this video, the game is going to be out, and I'll be able to see whether I succeeded with my design goals. So as always, thank you guys for watching this very, very, very important video. And if you like the sort of creative stuff that I make, consider buying a game to support me, but also I've made a Discord and a Patreon down there. So if you want to go and put above and beyond and support what we're doing even more, there is sort of like a renaissance of adult games going on, and community support is always a big part of that. So I really hope I get the opportunity to make another game. I want to keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in adult games. I want to add higher production value. And I'm confident that I can do it all, but we'll see how this first experiment goes. Thank you all for watching, and bye-bye.